Hello everyone, I am research assistant and PhD student Gamze and expert in the field of hearing impaired, assistant professor Elif Akay. We work at Anadolu University, Turkey in the Department of Special Education. Students with hearing loss in the inclusion environment and special education support service. I will present our presentation entitled Thanks for listening in advance. Introduction. As a result of the developments in hearing aids and cochlear implant applications in recent years, children with hearing loss show similar performance to their normal hearing peers in oral language skills. However, hearing aid technologies such as cochlear implant applications or hearing aids alone do not guarantee the development of academic skills of students with hearing loss in an inclusion or integration environment. Therefore, there is a need for instructional adaptations and special education support service that starts with early education intervention and continue throughout the entire education process for the success of students with hearing loss in the inclusion environment. In this study, it is aimed to examine the studies that provide special education support service to students with hearing loss in an inclusion environment. And research methodology. In this study, a systematic review method was used in order to reveal the results of the studies on the support special education services offered to inclusive students with hearing loss. Oxford Journals, Tyler and Francis, JSTOR, Science Direct, TR Index database were searched in April 2023. The keywords special education support services, hearing loss, and hearing impairment were used in different combinations in search. Articles published in peer-reviewed journals between 2000 and 2023 were included in this study. Since there were no applications and research on classroom support services before 2000 in the national literature, and all types of special education support services were frequently offered in the international literature in the 23-year period. As a result of the search, 473 research articles were found. By examining the articles reached, 35 articles involving students with hearing loss were included in this study. As for the findings, as a result of the analysis of this research data, 4 main themes were reached. First theme, types of special education support services, and second, support special education services practices. Third, benefits of special education support services. And finally, the fourth theme, problems encountered in special education support services. And the first theme, types of special education support services. When the studies were examined, it was seen that the students with hearing loss in the inclusive environment generally received itinerant teacher service. It has been stated that itinerant teachers work directly with students with hearing loss, performing the tasks of making a general assessment of the students and adapting the classroom materials. Apart from this, it is seen that students with hearing loss receive special education support services from special education teachers, teachers of children with hearing impairment, sign language interpreters, psychology counselor, and general education teachers. Second theme, support special education services practices. When the studies were examined, it was found that language and literacy skills development practices were frequently applied to inclusive students with hearing loss. Apart from this, It has been determined that one-to-one or group lessons are held outside the general education classroom and the pull-out model is generally applied. A study has been found indicating that the adaptations made in the curriculum are also an effective application for students with hearing loss. Theme 3: Benefits of Special Education Support Services. When the studies are examined, it has been found that the special education support services are effective in the academic success of the students with hearing loss, and that they benefit the development of literacy and primary reading skills. In addition, it has been revealed that special education support services are effective in increasing classroom participation and social adaptation of students with hearing loss. Theme 4: Problems encountered in special education support services. In some of the studies, it has been emphasized that there are various problems in implementation of special education support services. In one study, it was found that itinerant teachers had difficulties in planning their pre-post-training lessons and assessments. In another study, it was stated that general education teachers had difficulties in planning support education because they did not implement the subjects as in the annual plan. In some studies, the duration of special education support services was found to be short and inadequate. However, in a study, it was stated that 40 minutes of support education service every day is sufficient. Another problem encountered is that the physical structure of the institution providing special education support services and the number of students in the classroom are not suitable for support education. In some studies, it was found that the general education teacher could not provide one-to-one support to the students with hearing loss, and they could not adapt to the needs of the students, or they made non-systematic support education practices. Apart from this, it was determined that general education teachers did not receive adequate training on special education support services and were inadequate in applying the IAP program. Except for general education teachers, it was found that support education teachers did not conduct any students for students with hearing loss and were inadequate in using support services such as FM systems. In addition to this, it has been stated in studies that there are no or insufficient expert support services such as itinerant teacher, sign language teacher, special education teacher, language and speech specialist, and audiologist. Besides this, it is seen that there is an abundance of researches that conclude that the cooperation between the stakeholders in special education support services is insufficient. And conclusions: 19 of the 35 studies examined in this study are related to the problems encountered in special education support services. It has been seen that these problems have been put forward to increase the quality of special education support services. The intervention-based practices for solving these problems encountered in future research can contribute to the special education support services process. References, more references, and final, we have quite a long reference. Thank you for listening to me. For questions and suggestions, you can reach me at my email address. Thanks again.